I'm joined now by the founder and chair of Democracy Defenders Fund, Norm Eisen. Norm, thanks for coming on.
Brian, always great to be with you.
So we had a major ruling handed down by the Supreme Court, a very bad ruling by the Supreme Court, basically ruling that nationwide injunctions were no longer legal, no longer lawful. And so this basically gives Donald Trump carte blanche to be able to abuse the law, knowing that an individual judge won't be able to block what he's doing across the country. They'll rely on individual litigants, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of litigants to block any unconstitutional moves that were handed down by the Trump administration. And so in the immediate aftermath of that, you've taken action. Can you explain what you just did in court?
Yes, as so often with this Supreme Court, there's a middle position. It was not the worst that they could have done, Brian. They did not, for example, cut off all avenues for relief or say that Donald Trump's terrible unconstitutional birthright citizenship EO, where he picks and chooses which babies have citizenship, that was legal. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
And they gave us a road, a path to fight. And so we at Democracy Defenders Fund, with our wonderful partners, the ACLU, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and many others, we were ready. We thought this might be coming, and we started down that road. We filed a class action on behalf of everybody who's affected in the country by this unconstitutional birthright citizenship EO. So we're in court and we're fighting. And I do think these class action remedies, which the court encouraged in effect, are going to be the new way that we're going to carry forward that fight, where, we and our partners have gotten these over 200 orders stopping Donald Trump's illegalities. We're going to keep going with class actions and more.
So is there a way for you to be able to find everybody impacted? Like normally you have all of these different litigants all across the country, and when one judge rightly recognizes that what Trump is trying to do by rendering unconstitutional birthright citizenship, which, by the way, is literally in the Constitution, when he does that, that protects all of these individual litigants in all 50 states across the country. Now, because you can't find one judge somewhere who's going to rightfully hand down this nationwide injunction, all of these litigants are on their own. And so how do you go about the process of finding all of them so that they can be part of this class action lawsuit?
Well, you don't have to have every one of those people as a part of your complaint. What you have instead is class representatives. So we were ready. You don't need to have dozens or hundreds or thousands of class representatives. You can have a discrete number, and they stand in for all of the people who are affected. So we'll see how it works out, but you can get emergency relief in class actions. You can get very rapid preliminary certification of the class. I've done them for decades. So I'm dusting off my class action materials, and we're going to redouble our efforts. If Donald Trump, he took a phony victory lap as if he had won on the underlying constitutional issue. He didn't, as if all vehicles for getting relief had been cut off. They weren't. Brian, the injunctions are actually still in place all over the country that stop this executive order. They're just limited to the plaintiffs in those cases. So now we're adding class plaintiffs who represent the class. We're going to do as much or even more litigation. Donald Trump better watch out what he wishes for. He's going to have even more lawsuits that he can lose now. And we and the rest of the coalition are ready to get back to work.
Obviously, this administration found it necessary to go after these nationwide injunctions because that was their impediment to being able to target and attack all of these folks who benefit from birthright citizenship, which again, I can remind everybody 100 times in this conversation is right there in the plain text of the Constitution. They went after it nonetheless. And so is there any concern that now their next target is going to be going after the ability for litigants to use class action lawsuits to fight back against these claims?
Well, there were important statements in the multiple opinions, very complicated case out of the Supreme Court today, in which some of the conservatives, Alito, was complaining that the class action remedy is left intact. I don't think the Supreme Court is going to mess with the fundamental structure of the class action. It's been put into law by Congress. It's based on longstanding practice. They've acknowledged the existence of classes for decades and decades. So I think we can be confident it's a shift. Remember, Brian, the same thing happened with the illegal abductions by the Trump administration of migrants in this country who were shipped to black site prisons like in El Salvador. The Supreme Court there said they uh, the proper remedy is habeas corpus review, where you have to go in and the initial vehicle that was being tried there, also to get a single nationwide injunction, was set aside. But have we seen any lessening in the effectiveness of the litigation over those illegal abductions? No. On the contrary, since we got that last time the Supreme Court did this, we've had individual habeas cases. And despite saying they would never do it, the Trump administration has been forced to bring back Abrego Garcia and multiple others who were wrongly removed outside the United States, abducted, in my view. So while we should recognize the Roberts Court is no friend of ours, I disagree with this decision strongly. There still is plenty to work with here. And that just requires myself and all the other wonderful litigators in our big coalition, all those great organizations, the ACLU, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, other orgs in this case, and then the Protect Democracies and Democracy Forwards and Public Citizens of the world. Everybody's just, and all the other orgs that are litigating, we're just going to have to work harder, not to mention the state AGs. They're already out with a statement that they're going to redouble efforts. So people should know the fight continues, and we're going to find ways to keep winning as we have been over 200 times.
Norm, what do you make of the fact that, look, as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, these justices have every incentive to jealously guard their own autonomy as a co-equal branch of government. And so what do you make of the fact that this is a Supreme Court that ruled not in favor of the courts, but basically in favor of allowing the executive branch to usurp power from the courts? Isn't this completely antithetical to their own position in government?
Well, the Roberts Court did reserve the right, they write in the opinion, to intervene as necessary to do justice. So they're arrogating a lot of power to themselves. They're taking it away from the lower courts and from the trial court judges. But the important point, Brian, is they're not taking all the avenues away, and they could have done that as well. They're not saying birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. They could have done that as well. They're saying do it with these class action remedies.
But is there any concern if they're reserving the right to be able to change their mind here or intervene in the future that, I don't know, let's say when a Democrat is in office, suddenly they'll be able to exercise that right that they've reserved for themselves and say, you know what? On second thought, we think that preserving the ability for judges to issue nationwide injunctions is a good thing, and we're going to reverse our decision. And everything that whatever the next president tries to do, go ahead and block it. Find Judge Cannon, find Matthew Kaczmarek in the Northern District of Texas. Whatever judge you can find who's going to issue any injunctions that Republicans want, go for it. We're all good with that.
The risk is always there. They did leave themselves some wiggle room, but they've also established a set of rules here. Of course, you're not wrong to point to the politics of it. Administrations of both parties have taken exception to nationwide injunctions. They had two opportunities during the Biden administration to smack down extremely conservative judges who had issued odious nationwide injunctions. They didn't address the nationwide injunction issue there. It's a legitimate concern. On the other hand, what we need to do now is we need to take the vehicle they've provided and to run with it. And our energies are going to be dedicated to continuing to fight, to continuing to win. I think we can. Donald Trump has attempted an authoritarian takeover of government. So far, he's failed. He has not achieved what he set out to do. And I do think the Supreme Court has given us enough tools. They took some away, others they left on the table. They've given us enough tools to continue the fight. And Brian, I'll tell you this, whenever the actual issue, birthright citizenship, is or is not constitutional, reaches them, they are going to rule against Donald Trump. It is so clear in the Constitution. All babies born here are citizens.
Yeah. Norm, have you heard of the Streisand effect?
Yes.
Where in an effort to try and quash discussion of some topic, that you're actually just bringing it into the zeitgeist even more. And so is there some sense that by virtue of the administration trying to say, okay, these judges can't issue nationwide injunctions, that gives a bigger platform to folks like you and the NAACP and the ACLU, who then want to come out and say, okay, you know what, if the Trump administration wants to do that, we're gonna set up these class action lawsuits, and anybody who wants to be a part of it, come see us here.
You know, when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump has been shocked that his flood the zone strategy has been met and exceeded by the rule of law shock and awe of the coalition writ large, that every time he takes one illegal action, we file 2 lawsuits. Well, he's just going to have more lawsuits to deal with now. His Department of Justice is already overwhelmed. People have left because they disagree with his criminal approach to doing business, his disdain for the rule of law. Budgets have been slashed. They're going to lose even more. They're going to be even more overwhelmed. So they can expect an absolute tsunami from all of us out here who are fighting. And here at Democracy Defenders Fund, we already filed the first class action. We have 10 more in the pipeline. Bring it on.
So for folks who are watching this right now and maybe want to get involved or want to be able to share resources for people in their lives who may be impacted by this, what can they do?
Well, you can visit us at democracydefendersfund.org. Of course, we love your support. We do have a class action we want to emphasize for anybody. Our clients include pregnant moms who are in this country. For any family that is affected by what the Supreme Court has done, we have your back. We will protect you. We're in court already doing that. Visit our website, of course. We welcome your financial support, your ideas for cases, and just staying informed. democracydefendersfund.org.
Great. I'll put that website right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. A note for people impacted: this is a great resource for some help, and for folks looking to help, to contribute, to do what they can to elevate voices like Norm's and to help the cause move forward. Of course, your financial support is welcome as well. So Norm, appreciate your time and the work you're doing.
Always great to be with you, Brian. Thanks for having me.